where police is finding that cyberbullying is resulting into teenage suicides. An extreme example would be perhaps what is happening in Kota and other coaching institutions, where, there may not be an open form of cyberbullying, but when you sit in classroom, people might be looking at, making faces at you. Why is he here? Why is the person not doing well in class? So that kind of adds stress. Maybe not that is very, very manifest, but it is there. And then cyberbullying reveals one of the tracks that is important to police is that it leaves behind a digital trail. The person who bullies another person necessarily has to reveal himself or herself. So that enables police to get to the root of things. So this is one of the cyber crimes that is happily tractable. And then some of the practices of internet, like the anonymous nature of the internet, sometimes makes it difficult to fix responsibility, especially if fake identities have been used. To fix the fake identity on that person or pin it on the time of that person during the court or investigation court process will be difficult. So it generally is very, very relevant to adolescent children, young adults on the threshold of getting into a job or making their mark as a professional. But it can target other ages as well. It can target even older people. The results of cyberbullying, it results into a feeling of shame, isolation, leading to reluctance. We just had a wonderful expo on the things that are currently troubling teens and adolescents, which ma'am told about. So if you add steroids to it, that's what is cyberbullying. If an adolescent is already having some kind of a stress or some kind of a mental attitude that is pushing that person towards isolation or mental health issues, then cyberbullying kind of adds to it. This is useful for parents and also for doctors or for psychologists or psychiatrists who are looking at these kind of issues to find out if that person is indeed getting subject to cyberbullying of some nature, especially on social media. Then, when we talk about cyberbullying, we also talk about different forms of cyberbullying. There are many forms of cyberbullying which I have made a list, which I have not put it on the presentation, but there are different types. There is harassment, online harassment, sending repeated offensive or threatening messages. Then we call something known as flaming, engaging in hostile and very aggressive online arguments. Suppose that there is a debating platform like Reddit, especially. If there is a back and forth going on, the online trolls, especially the cyberbullies as we call them, you can easily make them out by their language. It is very threatening and intimidating in comparison to others. And the attacks on the other persons who are participating in the online forums or debate or just looking at it, that becomes ad hominem attacks. They will shift from the subject of the debate to the nature of the person itself. You are like this, you are like that. Not that the debate, the topic that is being debated upon has got some merits with this. No, you are a person like this, that's why you are speaking like this. Instead of looking at the merits. And that is very demeaning to the people, especially young people. From a police perspective, whatever I have seen, I don't know from a psychologist perspective or psychiatrist perspective, perhaps the conclusions are convergent in this regard. Then we have cyber stalking, which is an extreme form of cyberbullying. And this is the regular form of cyberbullying that leads to crimes. Who stalks whom? Who can be a cyber stalker? So a cyber stalker is a pathological character. It is a disease. Not everyone, all of us can get onto an online platform or a non-online, offline, in-person platform and start stalking somebody. If A is stalking B, B will generally be a young woman or an adolescent girl or a child. And these people will be stalked by these kind of people. Always the police have told, never ever ignore cyber stalking. At least 20% of those result into serious crimes, assaults, even murders, suicides, and whatnot. So cyber stalking is a cybercrime of an extreme nature and of an extreme, it's like a medical emergency. Any child that comes or adolescent that comes, even with one complaint of cyber stalking, that must be taken very seriously. So this is the most extreme form of cyberbullying that must be looked at. Then we have doxing, publishing or sharing someone's private or personal information such as home address, phone numbers, workplace, online without consent, and with the intent to cause harm or harassment. Look, I know your telephone number. I know who you are. I know your email address. I know your house address. This is a photo of that. You walk your dog. This is the name of your dog. This is the breed of your dog. Why does a person say that online? This is a kind of cyberbullying or cyber intimidation to show power. This is also a form of cyber stalking. We call that in police parlance as doxing. D-O-X-I-N-G with a single X or the double X. Then we have cyber infestation, we have outing and shaming. This is especially relevant in case of LGBTQ individuals. This outing and shaming. I know what you are, what your gender is, who you hang out with, which bar you are going to, which is the pool that you are frequenting. Do your parents know about it? I know about it. This again is an extreme form. Because the target audience is select, there are not many LGBTQs, especially in that adolescence. There is gender fluidity amongst them, that attitude is there. So this kind of thing becomes, that person has to go into a society or into a school or into a classroom. When this kind of a thing has already appeared on some kind of an internet bulletin board, what kind of impact will it have on the child? And many of the children don't reveal their feelings. This is where parents and the counselors have to take care. I believe that every school should have a mental health counselor, and especially a counselor who is very, very well acquainted with internet ethics and internet processes. They have to be current. This is very, very important, especially in the current age. When 5G and Internet of Things comes, maybe in the next couple of years, things will become more serious.
Pranab ji, your slides are not moving.
No, they're not, because I'm still at the forms. So, then we are looking at exclusion, then something known as catfishing. This is very interesting. This is pretending to be someone else online. I have deliberately not put it here because it will just simply occupy this thing without capturing your attention. I will just go through them. So they're pretending to be someone else online to deceive or manipulate others emotionally, often leading to trust issues and emotional distress when the deception is revealed. So I pretend to be a friend of yours and I come out to the stage. I guide you around.
Did you take photo?
I tell you about the hotspots of the town. Then I turn out to be somebody else. For a youngster, for a teenager, this is devastating. I have put my trust in a person who actually doesn't exist, who's a fake personality. Or a personality who's different from the one who's pretending to be. So maybe, to most of us adults, it may seem like a joke. But I must tell you, for teenagers, from a police perspective, this has been very serious. And this is a regular plague, an epidemic that is there in United States and other Western societies, fast spreading to the urban societies of India. And I'm sure it will be a major threat to come in the days ahead. This individual behind the catfish profiles typically fabricates personal information, photos, age, gender, interests, and background. That person may even pose to be your professor. That I'm interested in the work that you're doing. I'd like to see what work you're doing, especially for young researchers. I've seen this in the US. Then we have cyber trolls. I did not explain about them. All of us know about it. Then cyberbullying by proxy. So you can have bots. You bully, and the Zikos will spread amongst your bots as well. Those bots may be human beings or botnet, robots, basically automated computing devices. So they'll kind of echo your bullying. So what bullying was coming from one side now is into 10. So that is cyber bullying by proxy. Sometimes we call it as distributed denial of service attacks. Then we have ghosting. I think all of us have heard about it. I will not dwell on what is ghosting. You suddenly disappear from the scene. You are a genuine person. You have got good friendship over internet. You are a Facebook pal of somebody, and suddenly the next day you are gone. You are not responding to any kind of messages. It's very, very devastating. Then we have photo or video manipulation for the purpose of cyberbullying. This need not have any explanations. Doctored images, hate speeches, which are now coming up regularly, sexual harassment, revenge porn, identity theft, shaming in public, and then, of course, we are looking at the challenges which are coming up from cyberbullying, which I have made a small point on. The impact which can have severe psychological, emotional victims on effects on victims, leading to severe anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, and in extreme cases, suicide. Prevalence, extremely common, especially amongst teenagers and young adults. And from a police perspective, I must say that these complaints never come to us. And if they come to us, they must have come in extremis, at an extreme stage when things have happened already. So I don't know if there's some kind of community counseling or school counseling, academic counseling going on. The parents must be impressed upon to look at the children. If they're getting withdrawn, if certain changes in behavior have occurred of late, those must be reported. If required, if there is somebody behind this kind of behavioral change, that must be told to police. We are trying to set up counseling centers in each police station across the state, in all police stations, but that is going to take time. We have got advanced counseling in our commissariats and in district police offices. I think we also have presence in the demands and other institutions as well. So, this is the prevalence. So finally we move to the next slide, which I am again not going to dwell upon. Perhaps we look at the preventive measures. As I said, school, parents and communities have a very crucial role to play in this. Education has a crucial role to play. And open communication. Open communication between parents and children was talked to.
Did you prepare
And
this?
this is very important. So, what really you can do? What are the features and what are other characteristics that we can take the help of? We have established rules. We can have a set of rules and guidelines for internet and social media use. What is your screen time? Please don't look at screen times after 6 p.m. Can you avoid looking at a particular time? Can you go on some kind of a cyber upwas as far as screen scrolling is concerned? If that can be done, then we have monitoring online activity. What kind of online activity has your child been looking at? I know it's very, very intrusive, but it is very, very useful. Which kind of sites are getting visited? There are means and methodologies in which you can do that. I'm not suggesting you do it, but it can be done in case of extreme cases. Don't be intrusive unnecessarily, but can be done. Promote positive online community is very important, especially in the context that your child is a school-going child or a college-going child. Have interaction with the other children's parents to find out what is going on. Then technological digital literacy, educate students about digital literacy and critical thinking skills to help them navigate online. All online content is not bad. Some of them doing puzzles, quizzes, playing chess online. These are good and healthy habits, can be cultivated. So if somebody is looking at the screen for 8 to 10 hours, let 4 hours of that be spent in these kind of things. Create support systems, don't act alone. There are other people who are out there who can help you, who might have suffered the same kind of problems. Collaborate with technological companies. Several technological companies have come out with good solutions to cope with cyber distress or distress caused from online platforms. All of them are listed in the CSR sections of those companies. Infosys has it, Wipro has it, everybody has it. The legal consequences, this is again as I said, please do as doctors or as counselors or as advisors in different forums, impress upon the parents that early legal action will save lives. It will help the children. It has to be done. It must be done. It should be done as early as possible. You don't know who's lurking behind the cyberbullying platforms. Raise awareness. Offer training to educators, training of trainers. Basically, we do it a lot. Nowadays, we are also doing it regularly in the police computer wing, in CID. In all places, we are training counselors. Because we are finding that a lot of the victims are teenagers, increasingly. Promote empathy. Technological empathy and kindness, both online and offline, emphasizing the importance of treating others with respect and compassion. How does a person who's looking at a screen or who's looking at a particular social media feel? The persons who are interacting might be indirectly doing a cyberbullying or form of cyberbullying without knowing about it. So, technological empathizing is something that's taught in the US and in other Western society. Probably not come here yet. I don't know if somebody is doing it. Somebody is doing that kind of training. But that is also infiltrating into our academic thought. Continuously evaluate and update preventive measures to adapt. So, these preventive measures are not necessarily cast in stone. They will change depending on the nature of the threat and they will also evolve. So good if as doctors who are the most dynamic of people in terms of dealing with these kind of evolving strategies, if it can be done. Then coming to the second of the topics, what measures can we do to ensure safety online? You know, hackers are now there everywhere. Hackers are there on their own. We have hackers for hire. We have state actors who are hacking. We have non-state actors who are hacking. So hacking is not strictly related to cyberbullying. But if you have weak kind of protection on your internet or for your accounts, those can be used for bullying. That's why you should have very strong passwords. So something like password is password. So if you want to just Google which are the 10 weakest passwords, you will see the password, admin, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Or if you're cleverer than that, 6 3 6 5 4 3 2 1. That won't work out. There are dictionary attacks on passwords which can break these passwords in next to no time in milliseconds, within 300 milliseconds, let me tell you. So two-factor authentication, you know OTPs basically, or you can have biometrics. Many of the phones are now having biometrics. Some of the email accounts I have seen they're having two-factor authentication. In that one OTP will come to a different device. You can have TOTP also, that is transitory OTPs, which can move across. It's like a ticker. They will be valid for some time. Again, next number will come. Again, next number will come. Use CAPTCHA, those garbled letters which come. They're all good. Secure Wi-Fi network. So this I have been tired of telling people. You know, even in our place, wherever I sit and visiting, somebody has given the password as ADGP PCW Bangalore. Is the name of my network. If some hacker is going by, not only will you know that ADGP PCW is sitting here, the name of his this thing is that, then he will try a password attack on my Wi-Fi and then use that to do some kind of surfing on the internet. So while naming your internet, whatever connection you have, name it in such a way that a person will not guess who it belongs to. I am Pappu. No. That won't work. That's bad. Say some kind of thing which will make sense to you, which will not make you forget. You don't call the internet by as something like if it is an ACT-based fiber or something like ACT number so and so, you'll forget it. So it has to be intermediate, something that is not identifying you, something that you can identify with, something that you will not forget. Passwords must be changed from time to time. They must not be obvious. Passwords generally should not involve any personal details, your name, your baby's name, your dog's name, your birthday. Everything will be known to the hackers. That's known as social engineering attack. Encrypt the data. Most of your data should stay encrypted, especially in hard disks. Not possible in mobiles because mobiles have less computing power. But then you can fix pins on your mobile. So if your mobile gets lost, especially if it's an iPhone and it has got that pattern or the biometrics, nobody can break through it. It's very difficult to break through some kind of a password that is given to guard the screen. You can have individual app locks also. You can guard your own apps. App locks are available. WhatsApp, you have left your phone behind, somebody can read your WhatsApp. Immediately as you leave your phone, the WhatsApp should lock itself with a screen lock. Same thing goes for your emails. Encryption is a very protective technology. But then if you are careless with encryption, it becomes your enemy. Use HTTPS protocol. This is something which is more for the experts. If you see on your computers on the left hand side, whenever you are on the internet, there will be a lock. If that lock is not there, it is HTTP, it's not HTTPS. If you are using HTTP protocol, you are vulnerable to something what we call as a man in the middle attack. Somebody can get in between their website and you and listen in on to what is happening. HTTPS, S stands for security. So that means that communication is now happening over an encrypted framework. We call it as a public key infrastructure or a PKI. Public key cryptography also is what it's called as. So other measures, phishing mails. I did not explain to you what phishing mails are. Phishing mails are of two types. One is the general phishing mail, you know, the Nigerian 419 money scam, in which somebody has passed away in the United States and has left behind a substantial sum for you. All that you have now got to do is just pay $2,000 to get some procedures released, and then you can go in. Then another $2,000 to go to clear the next level. By the time you reach that treasure, you would have spent $20,000 and gone. Whatever you have spent is gone. You cannot recover it. It's a borderless crime. I'm telling you that. That's phishing. Phishing may also be from agencies like income tax and all that. It will be phishing means generally it will be sent to 1,000 persons, 10,000 persons. Whosoever takes the bait is trapped. Spear phishing is more dangerous and it is specific. I know you. I know who you are. I know what your interests are. I have been tracking you around internet. I know which shopping retail sites, online sites you have been visiting. Accordingly, I will frame a mail and send it to you. Dr. Mohanty, we have been happy to announce that we have read your paper and it is of great import to us and all that. We are from the University of Southampton in this thing. We would like to invite you for a talk. But for that, only thing is we will pay you the airfare once you reach. You can pay for the ticket to us on this website, and then after this ticket is booked, you can come over, we will reimburse you. We will also reimburse you for the lecture. And it would have come from a very, very authentic sounding this thing. That's spear phishing attack. One of the cases involved a very famous journalist who was in a very famous news portal, and a lady, and who got an offer from Harvard, no less, that Harvard Institute of Mass Communication or something. That institute never existed in Harvard. The professor never existed. It went on and off. Dialogue went on. That online dialogue went on for how many? Almost 8 months. And she, being such a smart operator, couldn't catch it. So spear phishing is something that you have to look at. If something is coming from somebody familiar or even unfamiliar, find out if it is genuine. Talk to the persons concerned. If I was that journalist, I would have asked other people in Harvard, what is the kind of offer that I am getting? Should I be taking this or not? I mean, it's not a big thing. But then greed takes over sometimes. Somebody, if I ask, then this is on offer. Somebody else might apply for it. Be careful about it. So, spear phishing is a form of cyber stalking or a cyber bullying, which is highly specific and tailored to your own personality. That person has studied you.
Nobody will call us.
Privacy setting, review and adjust privacy settings on social media platforms. This goes without saying in these days and times. Sometimes, to our frustration, most of these social media platforms, what they do is they completely clean away all personalized information from those posts or tweets or whatever you may call that. If it's a photograph, we will never know the location where it was taken, date, time, and the IP address which is posting it. They have done it for privacy, but for a police officer who is investigating a kind of a hostile social media account, it becomes a headache. How do you get there? Limit sharing. Be mindful of the information that you share online. Very, very, very important. Do not put your heart out onto the internet. It's a den of criminal activity. Safe browsing practices. Avoid clicking on unfamiliar links. Use incognito browsing. Use VPNs as much as possible. And there are, if you go to the websites where safe browsing practices are mentioned, which I will not be detailing upon here because of lack of time, there are several. Follow the 10 best practices. You will be safe. Do not reveal yourself on the internet. Coming back to the child safety measures, implement parental controls and monitoring tools, especially for younger children less than 13 years or younger. This should be, don't do it for adolescents because it will annoy them. Educate yourself, nothing further to be said here. Then secure social media. Again, as I said, secure the privacy settings. Use secure payment methods. Do not allow your children to have access to credit cards. It's a problem. And even credit cards, when you are paying through credit cards, especially where you are sharing the details, be very sure where you are sharing it with. Is it Amazon? Is it Google? Where is it? Is it an iPhone account? Verify that it is an iPhone account. We have known that very authentic looking iPhone accounts are not iPhone accounts. They are actually fake accounts where you have shared your debit card details or credit card details. Report abuse. Anytime you find somebody is doing something illegal, these things are not specific to cyberbullying. Cyberbullying has got more specific measures as such. These things will also apply to that. If there is any kind of abuse that is happening in your knowledge, please feel free. We have even provided a portal to you, which is 1930. 1930 is not only for online economic frauds, it's for everything. monitor accounts, data backups, keep software updated, patch management basically. Be skeptical. I mean, this is not something of a wisdom that I can give to doctors. Most doctors are skeptical anyway, as are police officers. So I'm sure this habit is a useful habit to inculcate. Stay informed. Then I come to the next, what tools are there on the online platform. I'll just quickly go through that. Most of you will be already aware of it. You have got a password store, like 1Password. Then you have LastPass, Google Authenticator. Google Authenticator is an excellent mechanism. You also have Microsoft Authenticators if you want to have. iPhone has its own. Then you have got, there are several VPN devices also that you can look at. Amongst messaging services, use WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, but be careful with them. Amongst them, I generally would prefer Signal as the best messaging app because it doesn't store metadata. Metadata means if you ask WhatsApp, it will, if I have talked to you over WhatsApp or sent you a message, that message will not be known to the WhatsApp, or what I have talked is not known. But WhatsApp is going to store when I have talked to you, what was the time, how much of talking did we do, what was my location, what was the instrument I was using, what was the telephone number I was using, what was the IMEI device of the telephone number I was using, what was the IP address, likewise for the recipient as well. Now, if somebody has been talking at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the night, and these are the details available on metadata, it's obvious that somebody who is hostile will find out what the talk was all about. So if you want to avoid that, take Signal as this thing. Signal doesn't have that much of paraphernalia about it, you know, the gigs and bands as we call it, but it is straightforward and easier and more secure. Signal OS is the original OS based on which these apps have been designed. Then we have got online search machines like DuckDuckGo. I don't know how many of you use DuckDuckGo. It's a very useful resource, better than Google, I'd say. It doesn't store anything that you search. Then you have got Tor browser, an extreme method of internet privacy. I'd advise discussion on this. Sometimes Tor is looked down upon by agencies, enforcement agencies. Why are you using Tor? Tor was developed by the Department of Defense maybe in the last decade by the United States, basically for anonymous browsing. Then you have ad blocks, then you have Brave browsers, then you have several VPN services. VPN services are especially important. If you have got good broadband, please use VPN services. What VPN services will do is it will not allow your service provider to know which sites you are visiting. Suppose it is Airtel, suppose it is Jio, or suppose it is BSNL. If nobody knows which sites you are visiting, they will know about it because you are requesting them. But if you go through a VPN, all that they will have is the VPN internet address. That's not going to help them much. So these marketeers, these people who trouble you with ads and all that cannot come through to you if you use VPN. Downside of VPN, makes internet a little bit slow. Then you have ProtonMail. I think ProtonMail has now been recently blocked by the mighty last week. But it is a very, very useful way of sending mails if you want to protect your identity. Then we have got Bitdefender's mobile security, which offers antivirus protection, malware, scanning, web protection, the complete spectrum of it for both Android and iOS. Then you have Lookout, a most useful security app that protects against malware, phishing scams. So this Lookout thing is very useful for spyware. You know, the spyware has started becoming a major threat now. Spyware is a kind of a hacking software that can be put into your devices. If it once resides in your device, it owns you. It can switch on the mobile device at its will, it can switch it off, it can listen to your conversations even if you are not talking on the mobile. Even if you have switched it off, it can still switch on the camera and pry on you. It can give out your locations. So we all know about a very famous spyware which made the rounds maybe 6-7 months back. I won't be talking much about it. You've got anti-mobile malware like Kaspersky, McAfee, several are there. Trend Microsystems. So now we come to the penultimate topic, that is of use of artificial intelligence. I was asked to speak a little about it. This is an emerging scenario, both as a threat and as a positive thing. It is going to be in increased circulation as the days come by. And when I say days come by, it is not in terms of years, I am talking in terms of really in terms of days. You will see in the next 4 or 5 months what is the power of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a misnomer. Real term is machine learning. When we were students in engineering colleges, artificial intelligence used to be the next big thing on the block, but that was a false start. So now what we are in is in the machine learning age, where algorithms will not learn through logic, but through learning. What is the difference between both? You know, algorithms are very, very specific to logic. If X, then do Y. Or if the returns are greater than 10,000, make me invest. So this is something of a normal logic. Artificial intelligence or machine learning? No. Machine learning will learn through intuition. Much like a small child learns. Most of you are doctors and most of you have handled pediatricians and all that. Have you seen a small child staring at you whenever you are doing something? What is my mommy and daddy doing? Eyes will be completely fixated on that. And then secondly, you must see how the children learn languages. It's more through intuition. They do not learn. When I came to Karnataka as an IPS officer, I had to learn Kannada. So what I used to do is, I used to do a kind of feedback loop in my brain. Oh, so this is what is in Kannada, then what is it in Hindi, and what is it in English? So this is the meaning of that. So all those clicks and all that used to happen in my brain, but for a small child it won't happen. It will happen instantaneously. Same way a machine learning algorithm learns. Especially the machine learning now technique which is making all the waves, the generational techniques that we call it the GPT. That's based on something known as neural logic. The neural logic is learning through reinforcement of feedback. Is it right or is it wrong? So suppose you ask a simple question to an ML algorithm, what is 2 plus 2? So it will come back to you, 2 plus 2, is it 40? No, how can it be 40? No, it's wrong, too high. Then it will add, and it will add again 22. Is it minus 40? No, it's too less. So it will start doing an oscillation till it settles down on the answer. So using simple logical questions for machine learning is like using a sledgehammer to swat a fly. It should be used for pattern recognition. Very, very complicated facial recognition features. Thousands and thousands of people you want to recognize one face amongst them. That's where machine learning excels. And that's where neural learning comes in. And the post-neural learning, what is known as deep learning, comes in. The word deep learning, which is now generating software like ChatGPT or your Google chatbot or your Alexa or whatever like that, that is basically called deep because of depth. It goes on adding layers. What kind of logic it employs, we do not really know about it. That is why it makes it so intriguing and dangerous. If artificial intelligence graduates to the next level of learning, which is known as AGI, or artificial general intelligence, then the alarm bells would start ringing for Homo sapiens. We will not be the dominant species on Earth. And AGI goes to ASI, then Homo Deus has arrived on Earth. End of Homo sapiens happens. That can happen sooner than this extinction level thing. So coming back to more mundane things. So we look at benefits of using AI, concerns of using AI, some recent trends like AR, VR, mitigating risks. So what are some of the benefits? We have got image recognition, we have got language translation, we have got trend analysis, ad targeting, social listening. These things need no explanations. Basically, these are all deep learning techniques. Then we have got influencer identification, then we have got network analysis. This is for cybersecurity people. We have got real-time analytics, which is also called as edge analytics. Then we have got content tagging and clarification. And then, of course, very, very importantly, deepfakes generation. I have taken it out. Deepfake generation and detection. So not only can you generate deepfakes, which is pretty easy now using voice clones and all that. In a recent function that we had, we were trying to release an app, a public utility app. So the app developer came out with a beautiful app, a beautifully fashioned video to promote that app. I told that voice sounds familiar. Whose voice is that? I said yours. But I told I have not given any voice, nor have I given any voiceovers. No sir, we took a voice signature of yours, we cloned it, and that entire video we did it through you. I mean, now it is possible to have films which will star, let us say somebody like K.L. Saigal as a child, and the child's grandfather would be somebody who is now a young actor. That is going to happen. So that has got deep implications in legal platforms such as intellectual property, because your likeness will be used. With the artificial intelligence and with intelligence and with machine learning, you can keep dead people alive as long as you want, and those dead people will evolve. Suppose on one of our parents we want to keep alive and their memory and all that, keep it. And that image will keep talking to you and will evolve over a period of time also, looking at your behavior. Beta, I told you this thing when I was alive. You have not done that. So that's what AI is going to make possible in days to come.
Which was there in our ancient
Then,
India, no?
of course, in social media, emotion recognition is very important. You know those all those thumbs up or the thumbs down that you have, the semantics and the synthetic analysis that you do. We do a lot. We do it a lot in social media monitoring. Fraud detection on its way. We are also going to launch an app from Karnataka Police, because I have seen several of my close friends also getting calls in which they are also calling in. So we had a close friend who was telling me, boss, see, I have not sent any parcel, but the parcel is reached in my name and it is containing drugs. Now the police is coming to interrogate me. I mean, this is such an invidious thing. Somebody is having your Aadhaar number, somebody is having your telephone number, PAN number, and that follows. It's a kind of a spear phishing attack, remember that. Many people have fallen target to this. So AI is going to come to your rescue. Moment such a phone call comes, the AI app which would be resident on your phone will warn you that, boss, before paying any money or giving a reply, please verify if such a thing has happened. That much is enough, an alert. Then we have augmented reality filters. This is something of great importance to doctors. If social media today on a two-dimensional screen is addictive, how much more addictive it will be with augmented or virtual reality. Add drugs to the mix, take some mind-altering drugs or psychedelics, use a VR goggles, go into a social media platform. You will live an alternate reality. It will be 100 times more toxic than what it is now, or 1,000 times more toxic. The problems that are appearing through social media now, you multiply that with an exponential figure, you will have the result with VR and AR. That's what it does. Police uses AR and VR a lot. I was in the border security force prior to this, we used to have a lot of simulation scenarios. You know those anti-naxal things. Each tree, each rock will be mapped into that virtual thing. Virtual patrols will go. They will familiarize themselves with the territory. So we know who's lurking behind what by the time we have gone on patrol. This is only a very simple thing that I am talking to you about. The ones which have been tried upon by Meta, by Apple, and by the other agencies to add steroids to the social media content, this is it. And you will have problems with this in the days to come. Again, measuring in days, not years.
That's all word I remember.
Predictive analytics, very good for both guarding as well as for financial investments. So some of the downsides, spread of misinformation. You know, all of us tend to believe what we want to believe. Was there civilization in our country 7,000 years back? Yes, I know it. I'm aware of it. Something has come on the internet, it is corresponding to my knowledge, so I will join it together. Jupiter and Saturn have had this kind of influence on my life. I was always aware of it. Now it has come out through some kind of a scientific endeavor. Was my grandmother not telling this to me 50, 60 years back? Now they have connected. This is correct. But you will never go back to find out whether this information is being shared is genuine, scientific, non-scientific. The spread of disinformation, online misinformation, malinformation, wrong information, all these things are subject to fact checks. Now we are having fraud in fact checks also. So then echo chambers, AI-powered recommendation systems can unintentionally reinforce users' bias, which is what I told you about. Manipulative advertising for targeted advertising on social media platforms for children, for adolescents. They will kind of take their attention to where they want it to go. This is kind of a manipulation, which we can e-manipulation or whatever. Privacy concerns. So AI-powered data analysis and tracking technologies raise privacy concerns by collecting and analyzing vast amounts of personal information. The ones that cannot be collected through normal logic or through normal algorithms can be done by ML algorithms. You don't even know what is personal and they will take it out and keep it with them. That will be useful for telemarketers. Algorithmic bias. Social media platforms exhibit biases. So now so far you are having cyber bullies who are actually individual persons. Next you will have machine learning created bullies who will have biases based on your performances and based on your personality, and then they will target you. your color. For instance, a very famous recruiting algorithm of ML, maybe a couple of years back, it was found that it was targeting in US, it was targeting people of color. This person is a colored person or a black person, must be having a criminal history. So that kind of bias came in. That bias came in because of incorrect learning techniques. I mean, once an algorithm has become trained, a pre-trained algorithm, it is very difficult to retrain it because it would have consumed vast amounts of data to come to its present levels of training. So initial level of training of machine learning is very important. But then it can be a very, very fatal tool in the hands of criminals who can give it wrong kind of information and then train it. User addiction and manipulation, because I told you it makes things extreme. AI makes things, whatever was happening in the internet on a single digit basis will go into 5 or 6 digits based on AI. Cyberbullying and harassment, as I told you, AI powered chatbots and automated accounts, deepfake manipulation, identity theft and fraud can be exploited by malicious actors to steal personal information. Whatever is happening in normal internet today, you just put it on steroids, you get AI. Surveillance and censorship. I'm not going to dwell much on this. So these are the AI, AR, VR content which I've talked to you about. I'm not going to talk too much about it more. You know the Ukraine-Russia war that is happening. And one of the reasons why Ukraine has not fallen so far is AR, VR technology. They use something known as FPV drones, first-person view drones. Since they were at a disadvantage in terms of artillery and having laser-guided bombs or aircraft, they use cheap drones using these goggles. And these drones would go and throw those bombs into the advancing Russian troops. They will crowd the skies so that the planes cannot take off from the Russian sides. So they forced some kind of a stalemate. This is the power of AR VR.
What did they do?
Already told you about this. There's nothing much. So this is an extremely powerful form of artificial intelligence which is now coming up, which is going to change the entire complexion of social media. Content personalization, recommender systems, content moderation, sentiment analysis, chatbots, all these things will happen in microseconds instead of the days that's now going in for training this kind of social media. Coming back to the risks, already we have spoken about.
Only one thing is
we can have parental guidance, privacy settings, age restrictions, open communications, digital literacy educations, cyberbullying awareness, conduct classes, content monitoring, time limits of screen time, safe online communities, report and block. So this I'm not going to deal much. This is the new topic I was told to talk upon by the organizers. So I'll just briefly brush through that. Most of it will be known to you. You know the IT Act 2000. Some of the Indian Penal Code we used along with the IT Act, that is 509 of the section 509. Section 354D is a new one that was introduced in 2013. That's for online molestation or basically cyber stalking. Then we have got POCSO, that is the POCSO Act of 2012, which is meant for protecting children online. Other sections are there where we are using like 499, which is defamation. Basically, its complaint has to be made to the court, not to the police. Punishment for defamation, they are read together. Then we have criminal intimidation using online platforms. Then IT Act 2 sections have included 67B and 67C. The publication or transmission of obscene material in electronic form. And then this deals with transmitting material depicting children. This is also there in POCSO. POCSO also has these things. So we have defined what sexual harassment may mean through online means in POCSO. POCSO is a newer act in 2014, as all of us are aware. So section 11, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 21, the section addresses abatement of offences. Not only an offence itself is
Nothing is going
to be
on.
taken care of, abatement of that
Very
also.
slowly. Too much it is. No, not required.
Indecent Representation of Women Act, basically for revenge porn. We are now
16.
using this incrementally, though this is an older act of 1986, but it is very useful. Probably this is also undergoing a transformation in the new criminal laws that are coming in July. So in indecent representation of women, we can also find companies guilty. Cognizance and prosecution is very well defined here. Exceptions are also defined. So exceptions will provide certain exceptions for artistic, literary or scientific works How works of artistic merit? However, these exceptions do not apply for representation that is deemed to be indecent or derogatory or vulgar. Now, what is indecent or derogatory? I really don't know. That depends from person to person.
I'm not understanding.
So, international laws and protocol, not internal. So, we have the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Children, the CRC. The optional protocol to the convention, we have another additional protocol also to this, including CSAM as we call it, child sexual abuse material available on the internet. Universal Declaration of Human Rights contains these things. International Telecommunication Union has defined certain protocols which are used to us. Most strict guidelines are issued by the European GDPRs, which now India has enacted through its newly passed DPDB, which is probably now again going to come in July or August. Council of Europe Convention or Cybercrime on Cybercrime, or so-called the most important Budapest Convention, which happened in 2008, I think, which is ongoing. It has defined a number of things. You can go to the websites; they are very, very useful resources. There's something known as Octopus, which you can refer to, which has got a lot of material on CSAM.
I'm not interested.
Then we have got Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations. UNESCO has got certain rules of its own. International Labour Organization has also defined especially for use of women, children in trafficking. Then now Safer Internet Day has been observed for the last 4-5 years, I think, with the help of the European Commission. In India, it's not there, but I think its observation will start. Child Online Protection Initiative led by the International Telecommunication Union, United Nations Study on Violence Against Children, We Protect Global Alliance to End Online Sexual Abuse. It's a very, very useful kind of a resource that We Protect. This is an informal alliance of different countries and organizations. I would request you to go to the website of We Protect. There are a number of good resources available for counselors and doctors. We have Inter-American Conventions, we have African Charters, Child Rights Connect. Child Rights Connect is an international network of organizations advocating for the promotion and protection of children's rights. Global participants and violence against children and women. Then this is again a United Nations loosely based federation, which is again having a lot of good inputs. I'd advise these to be looked at. Then we have got EU strategy for a better internet for children. Again, what are the safe practices some of which I have borrowed in my talk. Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Guidelines in Protecting Children. This is between the APEC countries, amongst the APEC countries, including Australia and New Zealand. Child rights and business principles. What kind of advertisements can be aimed and cannot be aimed. So these are the international acts. So I have also included the COPA Act, which is kind of a founding kind of an act by the Americans. There's a federal act of US, which has been in news, Children Online Protection, Privacy Protection Act. So this is an extremely valuable resource. COPA Act can be easily downloaded from the internet. It's just a few pages. It gives a lot of guidelines on what is to be done, and these are enforceable in the US. All these things are mentioned here: parental control, then limited retention period, right to be forgotten, security measures, safe online programs, enforcements and penalties. Actually, there have been a lot of penalties given by the FTC. I have a few examples I'm giving you here. The FTC, it penalized YouTube for selling children-related material on their platform. How much is it? 170 million. Huge penalty was enacted. So are the other people who are penalized. I'm told even Meta is penalized, Facebook. So thank you for listening.